For the Planning Commission of the Town of Atherton to the meeting of June 25th, 2014. Roll call, please.
Thank you. Commissioner Grinling?
Here.
Commissioner Whitmer? Present. Chair Lively?
Here.
Commissioner Lane?
Here.
And Commissioner Tonelli is excused.
We have a quorum. Next thing on our agenda is approval of minutes of our last meeting of May 28th, 2014. Any corrections or additions? There being none, apparently.
Atherton, make a move that we approve the minutes as written.
Second.
And second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
What did I say, abstain?
And abstain. Next item on our agenda is public comments. Anyone in the audience like to comment on anything that's not on our agenda this evening? All silent, so we'll move on to the next item. Commissioner reports. Anyone? I have one minor one. The CCAC subcommittee met with the town engineer Monday and is working on a short list for those proposals for the program manager for the Civic Center. Hopefully there'll be something to the council later in July. We'll be lucky to get that far, but we're working on it. What's the story on EIR collection?
Sure. So for the Civic Center CEQA analysis, we do anticipate it will be an environmental impact report. The RFQ or RFP was released right after the City Council meeting when we authorized it. I've received quite a few inquiries, quite a few interest, a lot more than the firms that I sent it to, so word's getting around. I expect we're going to receive a lot of proposals. Also the geotechnical report, that RFP was also distributed, and I believe they had 10 interested persons attend kind of a pre-bid meeting. I do not believe it was mandatory, so it could be that you get more than 10 proposals. Our plan is for both of those contracts to have an interview process where we'll have a CCAC representative as well as city staff interview the consultants, the top few selected, make a recommendation to the city council at their August meeting, and then kick off the process for both.
Thank you, Lisa. Anyone else for commissioners' reports? Good, we got through the underbrush in a hurry.
There you go. Very good.
Staff reports, anything further?
I have nothing to add.
Next item on our agenda is item number 6, a variance at 397 Atherton Avenue. Variance to allow a detached garage to be located closer than is allowed in the front property line. Staff report?
Thank you. The first item before you is a request for a variance at 397 Atherton Avenue. The request is to allow a garage to be located within the front setback of a flag lot. The north and west property lines are immediately adjacent to the neighbor's driveways, and there's a drainage creek located at the rear of the lot. There's an existing single-story residence with attached garage on site. As you know, the property slopes downward from the street to the rear of the lot with a grade change of approximately 44 feet. The front property line is the west property line, and the owners are planning on converting their garage to living space and are not proposing a second story to the residence. On May 28th, the applicant received approval from the Planning Commission for a basement under their accessory structure, or proposed accessory building, and a retaining wall at the rear of the property. They'd also requested a lot line redesignation at that time to designate the property line parallel to Atherton Avenue as the front. The lot line redesignation would have allowed the new detached garage in its current proposed location. However, approval would have resulted in the main residence becoming more non-conforming. Because of this, the request was denied, and the applicant needs to return to the commission with a request for a variance to locate the garage within the front yard setback. The standard setbacks for accessory buildings are 10 feet from the side and rear property lines and 30 feet behind the front wall of the main building for the front setback. Flag lots are also able to request a special structures permit to allow a detached accessory building to be located at the front setback. On this property, a special structures permit would allow the garage to be located 60 feet from the front property line. However, the applicant is requesting the garage to be 10 feet from the front property line. The garage would be required to meet all other accessory building requirements and would be located at least 8 feet from the main residence. The applicant is requesting the variance for several reasons. Primarily the steep slope of the lot, and the existing configuration would require extensive grading if the garage were located where permitted by code. The proposed area for the garage is already flat, and the existing driveway and hardscape are already extended to the area where the proposed garage is located. Finally, the location of the garage will not require the use of several retaining walls, nor be located in the existing landscaped and hilly area. There are limited alternate locations on site for the garage because of the slope, and as I mentioned before, the garage does take advantage of the existing flat area of the lot. Also, the garage is located along the access portion of a neighbor's lot, which greatly reduces any negative impacts to that neighbor. Staff is supportive of the request for the variance because of the uniqueness of the lot. As I mentioned before, the lot is bound by both neighbors' driveways, and the 44-foot slope change are factors that staff believes are unique to this parcel. The drainage creek at the rear provides a buffer between this property and the one behind it. And again, the topography and configuration of the site itself, we do feel is a unique situation within town. We have not received any public comments from neighbors. However, several neighbors did express support for the previous application, which also had the garage in the same location, but nothing specific since this notice. I'm available for any questions, and the owners are also present. Thank you.
Any questions, Andrea?
No,
No, I'm fine.
good summary, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
The approvals from the neighbors have not been withdrawn or modified in any way?
No, I haven't heard from them at all, and we did renotice this item.
You did renotice?
We did.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Andrea. We'll now open the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Have any comments?
We are present. I just want to say thank you for giving us a few minutes on the agenda today. I think we adjusted the submission based on your feedback last month, and we've omitted the PowerPoint to be respectful of your time. We have talked to our neighbors since then, and they're still supportive. They like the location, and that's their preferred spot. So we're open for any questions if you have any for us. I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions occur?
You have a 3-car garage already there. Is it really needed 3 cars?
Yeah, it's a good question. Right now, our existing garage structure is doubling as a kitchen and with our laundry facilities as well. And so what we try to do is to reclaim that component so that we could basically add living space and then put a structure to the side that mimics it right now with the architecture of the house.
I'm sorry I wasn't present at the last hearing. And that 3-car garage area is to be converted into a...
We're going to keep the same existing ranch infrastructure of the house, and so we're basically going to try to add on living space, which is currently used for storage in the garage.
Storage.
So
That's
we're
what all
gonna-
garages use. Thank you.
Do that.
Any further? Thank you, Kurt.
I'm kind of disappointed there's no PowerPoint this time.
We're going to try the animation this time, so.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else desire to be heard on 397 Atherton Avenue? Not, we'll close the public hearing. Kurt, or William?
I think the approach is very practical, trying to use the flattest part of a steeply sloping site. If I were pushed to the wall, I would not be happy with the fact that you couldn't cut off some of that existing, but I can understand the rationale. I would actually rather see you use that portion that is flat without moving a lot of earth and drainage problems around, and therefore I'd be likely to improve it.
Mary Beth?
I looked at the property.
I'm sorry, I visited the property.
I looked at the property last week. I didn't return this week. I didn't think it had changed much. And I am in favor of putting the garage at this location rather than start, as we concluded last time.
Okay, thank you. I visited the property on Tuesday, and like Mary Beth, it didn't change a whole lot. We were part of the whole thing and said, let's come back and look at a variance, so I'm in favor of it. Eric?
I went to the property, there's one less car in the driveway this time, so And I did not ride my bike, and I was talking to my wife about the fact that I wouldn't be riding a bike in that neighborhood, but I'm very comfortable with the variance we talked about last time, and the fact, and the reason we get the variance relative to optimizing the property the best way and still not coming up with an inappropriate way to handle it.
Is there then a motion, please?
I'll move that the planning commission approve the variance on 397 Atherton Avenue based on the findings for the reasons enumerated in the staff report, subject to the conditions listed in the draft variance to allow detached garage to be constructed closer than allowed to the front property line.
I'll second. Moved
Second.
and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved, been approved. Again, if you disagree with our verdict this evening, you have 10 days to appeal to the council. Thank you. Sorry to keep you so long.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming back.
Next item on our agenda is the tentative parcel map. 93 tentative parcel map, certificate to create 2 lots, 93 Andrea?
The next item for your review is a request for review of a tentative map certificate for the subdivision of 2 lots at 93 Camino por los Arboles. The applicant is proposing the division of one 2.5 acre lot into one approximately 1.2 acre parcel at the front and 1.3 acre flag lot at the rear. There's an existing resident on site with a detached garage located to the rear of the lot. Both of those structures are proposed to be removed. If you did visit the site, you'll notice that it's in various stages of being deconstructed, and that was done by the previous owner, so there's some safety hazards that the current owner's gonna be taking care of with that. In terms of the design of the lots, both lots meet the size, width, and depth requirements as required by the subdivision ordinance. For the flag lot at the rear, which is parcel 2 on the map, the applicant is requesting the front property line be designated as the lot line parallel to the street. Although the lot line is the longer property line, and we usually designate the shorter property line as the front, the code does allow the commission to designate either one as the front property line. And in this case, they are asking for that lot line parallel to the street. If approved, a portion of the existing residence on parcel 2 will become non-conforming. It will be encroaching into the front yard, and the detached garage will also be non-conforming with regard to the front yard setback. So we are recommending a condition of approval that those structures would have to be demolished before recordation of any final map. The proposed lots are of sufficient size and shape to allow the construction of a new main residence on each lot. The division of the lot into 2 separate lots will result in a greater number of heritage trees being protected. Under the municipal code, the tree preservation area includes all areas of the lot within the main building area. Sorry, that's incorrect. Under the municipal code, the main building area, you can only preserve the... Excuse me. So under the municipal code, the main building area, the only trees that are protected are oak trees of a certain size. Outside of that area, it's any tree over 48 inches. With the division of this lot into 2 lots, the main building area will actually shrink in size, so the tree preservation area will increase in size, thereby protecting a few more trees. On your plans, the proposed footprints of the residences are conceptual, but it is likely that a few heritage trees would need to be removed in order to accommodate a new residence. However, staff believes that the subdivision itself does not make it any more likely that the trees will be removed. They would need to be removed for a new residence or it to remain one lot as well. And any trees proposed for removal will need to either be reviewed by staff or the planning commission. The town arborist, Kevin Keelty, did visit the site and notes that there are several trees that he would not be comfortable approving at staff level and would definitely come to the commission for review once homes are proposed and trees are proposed for removal. The proposed lot split has been reviewed by various development departments and is in general conformance with the municipal code and general plan. The subdivision complies with the minimum R1A zoning requirements and the residential land use policies of the general plan. Both meet the minimum subdivision design standards in the zoning code and in the subdivision ordinance. The development of 2 single-family residences on 1 acre minimum lots is consistent with the development pattern in town. Staff believes the 10 findings can be made for the planning commission to recommend the city council approve the tentative parcel map certificate. We did receive an inquiry from the neighbor to the right of the lot. She had concerns about the development of 2 homes occurring at the same time, and any parking impacts that would occur along with that. We informed her that any workers associated with the site would either need to park on site or in front of the house itself, and that we would also encourage them to do the carpooling from the town center to minimize traffic impacts. Her other concern was about any trees being removed and being noticed about that, and we explained that she would be noticed for any planning commission heritage trees proposed for removal. We're also going to be encouraging the property owner to reach out to the neighbors prior to construction to try to address any concerns that they might have as well. I'm available for any questions, and the applicant is also here as well. Thank you.
Any questions, Andrea, anyone?
Does the owner resident have any reason they haven't removed either that structure or the garage that's sitting there?
I'll have the applicant answer that, but I believe they just purchased the property. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? If not, thank you, Andrew. Is the applicant here? We'll open the public hearing. Is the applicant here who would wish to be heard?
Excuse me, I have to frog my throat. My name is Jack McCarthy. I'm the representing the owners of the property. They did recently just purchase the property, and actually after the close of sale, one of the previous owners came on the property and started to disassemble the house and take the redwood out. And so we asked him not to because he was creating a unsafe condition. So that's how that
Thank you.
deconstruction all occurred. We did send out letters to about 65 people because part of this falls into Menlo Park, and we didn't receive any comments or calls or any emails back from
Part
anybody.
of what falls in Menlo Park?
The noticing area.
Unnoticing area.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there's some streets right off of Valparaiso, and so we noticed or sent out actually a copy of the tentative map and letter, and nobody did contact us in any way. So I'm glad to answer any questions you might have.
Did. You did.
Okay.
Anything?
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, it's fine.
I've got a comment. I visited the site on Tuesday morning. We didn't get through the gate, but we looked at the property, and while there are a lot of heritage trees, most of the trees, it seemed to me, are less than heritage tree size, and therefore they're vulnerable to be removed. And I suspect, I hope you're going to tell me differently, that those will stay or go.
Well, our goal is to keep as many of the trees as possible. We had 2 ways we could have come onto the property, and if we come on from the right side, we would have had to have taken a lot of trees out, and so we chose to come from the left side, where we don't have to take trees out. The other thing we did is we widened the driveway so we don't have to squeeze against the neighbor's trees. We have a 25-foot easement, or not easement, a 25-foot pole, and then we also angled it at an angle rather than go straight up and turn into the property to kind of relax that bend and to allow us to adjust the driveway if we needed to.
It's a lovely piece of property the way it is.
Yeah.
And it's going to look a lot different when you start to develop it. Be surprised for the neighbors, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and we have no problem meeting with the neighbors and explaining what we're doing.
Very good. Any further questions? Not, we'll close it. Anyone else desire to be heard on this matter? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Start with you, Eric.
Well, I think the planning around the site it will be important in terms of the impact on the neighborhood. I do agree with you, though, that there's a couple things about the location of the driveway access approach is that it's far enough away from the corner, but I think is another aspect of it that I really like, because coming around the corner and that whole area is, you want as much space as you can get right there. It also maintains the feel for the corner, the owner on the corner. But I really do think that you want to be conscious of whatever you do in terms of your plan, minimizing the visual impact. There can be 2 properties back there with very little difference than a single property with some screening. So I think that's something to consider. The objective, I would think, would be a good neighbor. All right, and then with that, I don't have any concerns out of it. Although it did look like I was working on the house, that my wife said. So it had that sort of Eric Lane touch to the side.
Mary Beth?
I visited the property and I did get to the gate. You had to work it a little bit to get it open. And I had my measuring tape, and there are quite a few trees that I suspect won't be non-heritage trees for very long.
That's right.
That they're on, on the cusp of being heritage trees. So, I'm in favor of improving that property. It certainly needs it. And I don't see any real obstacle to dividing it into two parcels.
Will it?
I also visited the site. I think it, gorgeous site, beautifully located. And given what I understand from the plans, I would have no trouble approving.
I agree with the site. I think it's a wonderful piece of property, and I have no problem in approving the tentative map. Is there a motion then, please?
I would move that the planning commission recommend the city council approve the tentative parcel map certificate with the provisions of removing the detached garage and existing residence, right, allowing the subdivision of one lot into two lots in 93 Camino por los Árboles based on the findings and for the reasons incorporated in the staff report.
Second.
Second.
Very best second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The tentative parcel map is approved. If anyone in the audience desires to appeal this, the appeal time is 10 days to the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is special structures permit, Tallwood Court, special structures permit to allow a pool to be located in the front setback. Andrea again?
No,
You're gonna do it?
yeah.
Okay.
Split them up. There's so many items. I couldn't make her do everything.
Hard act to follow, but you can try.
I don't know. The applicant's requesting a special structure permit to allow a pool to be constructed at the front yard setback. The applicant's requesting the pool be 60 feet from the front property line, as this location is behind the main residence and within their lower terrace area. As you know from the site inspection, the lot slopes upward steeply from the street with a level area at the center of the property. The Walsh Road side of the property is considered the front yard, and the Tallwood side of the property is considered the side yard. And the proposed new residence is designed with the front of the house oriented towards the rear yard, so it's a little bit flipped. And the new pool would be designed behind that residence. There are several heritage trees on the site, and the town arborist Kevin Kilty did conduct a site inspection and noted that the pool, as proposed, would not have a negative impact on any heritage trees. The existing landscaping, together with that steep slope of the lot, would screen the pool from view from any neighboring properties as well as from the public right-of-way. Staff feels the proposal meets the intent of the municipal code and will not be detrimental to the neighborhood. I'm happy to answer any of your questions, and the project architect is here as well.
Very good. Any questions, Elisa?
Did the property used to have access off of Walsh? There were a lot of, I was glad it didn't, but I was wondering if it did.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't remember that, did you?
Okay.
Okay, no further questions, staff. We'll open the public hearing. Is the applicant here, or representative?
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Charles Belser, and I'm representing Pacific Municipal Architecture on the pool at 1 Tallwood Court. And you can see that we have preserved the existing site layout, the access across Tallwood Court above the home, this is the historical layout for the site, and it's also makes good design sense in terms of relation to the sloping topography and existing trees. This property is, as noted, our front yard is actually designated as the rear yard of the lot, and the rear yard is designated as the front. So that location for the pool is really the only logical location, practical location for the pool, and it is well screened. It has mature trees surrounding the property, as well as it is 20 feet above Walsh Road. We're about 80 feet to Tallwood and almost 75 feet to the neighboring property to the east. We have reached out, writing letters to the neighbors, and we've copied the staff on that. We've met also with the neighbor to the east, the Montalvos, and as well as the Memes above and across the Burns, across the street. All had no objection to this. In fact, the Burns wrote a letter in favor of this proposal. I'm here to answer any questions. We also have Brad Smith, the principal of the firm, and Brandon, who's the project manager of the project, to answer any questions.
Any questions? Sorry, getting William?
It is the only place you can put the pool, not the logical place. I would also wonder how many leaves per day you're gonna sweep out of that pool. Pretty darn tree. But I have no qualms with, the fact that it fits there and there's not any trees going down, and whoever's gonna do it's gonna take a nice long walk down there, and hopefully their heart won't give out coming back up. Thank you.
Very bad.
Yeah, I visited the property.
Oh, I visited the property. I gotta get back in the rhythm.
And I saw that it was really the only location that was feasible for the pool.
I visited the property on Tuesday along with a cement truck, and
The cement pumper truck. And the cement
yeah,
pumper
the
truck.
cement pumper.
Which is
I-
exactly where the pool was,
It's
right?
exactly where the pool was, exactly where the pool was.
We tried to swim, but
I have some of the same comments about the trees. I hope in the future date, somebody doesn't come in with a request to remove some trees because they overhang the pool and their leaves are floating all over the place. Okay, so that's my comment.
Eric? Went to those sites, and it's one of the best designed runoff catch basins I think we could have put on that site. And it is the best job with the property you have. And, with Walsh Road right there, I don't think anybody will stop as they drive by and say, complain about the noise or anything, so I think it's a good place for it.
Okay. Any further comments, anyone? Anyone? Thank you very much. Anyone else in the audience want to comment on 1 Tallwood? Not proposed public hearing. Eric?
You want me to do something on this one? All right, let me pull this up. I move the planning commission approve the special structure permit on the 1 Tallwood Lane based on the findings and for the reasons enumerated in the excellent staff report.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved? Opposed? No. Anyone in the audience want to appeal our decision this evening? You have 10 days to appeal to the council.
in writing.
In writing, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm getting old. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is special structures permit, A1 in Somerset. Special structures permit to allow a pool located in the front setback at this address. Staff
I
report.
took this one also. The applicants are requesting a special structure permit to allow the construction of a pool at the front yard setback. And again, the pool will be located approximately 60 feet from the front property line. The applicant's requesting this location as it allows for large lawn areas and a rear yard auto court. The applicant is in the process of developing a new residence on the property with detached garages and accessory structures. The lot is located at the end of Somerset Lane and is considered a flag lot as it does not have sufficient frontage along a street. The eastern property line is considered the front property line. And the applicant proposes to locate a new pool within the main building area, 60 feet from the front property line and 57 feet from the side property line. The pool is approximately 25 feet from the main residence, and the pool equipment would be located within a room that would be attached to the main residence. There's several heritage trees on the site, and Town Arborist Kevin Kilty conducted a site inspection and noted that the pool, as proposed, will not have a negative impact on any of the trees. A new hedge is proposed together with other landscape screening to screen the pool from view of the street as well as from neighboring properties. Staff feels this proposal meets the intent of the municipal code and would not be detrimental to the neighborhood. I'd be happy to try to answer any of your questions, and I believe the applicant's here as well.
Mary Beth, anything?
No.
William?
No question.
No questions?
I just wanted a clarification. I think finally I read the comment about section that, and it says in our ordinance, that a pool or spa may be located up to the front, up to 10 feet from the side and rear yard, and between the front yard setback line and the front line of the house. This does that. That's exactly right. So it does meet the code. I had forgotten all about this section. Thank you.
Thank you.
Completes the staff report. Is the applicant here?
Yes, sir.
We'll open the public hearing if you care to speak.
Only if you have questions about it, or I can answer questions.
Pardon me?
Only if you have questions about it.
Yeah, why is the house so skinny?
It's really the only way that we can get there.
That's one marvelous site. It's big, it's long, it's really lovely.
I have color renderings here. My name's Akira Kurihara. I'm representing Goodrich Firm Architects, like designers, and just to let you know that the pool will be designed. It's designed at grade, so the grass will come right up to it. It's not raised in any fashion, and it's not visible from anywhere right away or the cul-de-sac.
You're very quiet back there.
Very.
And that big Greek flag flying in the back, in your back neighbor's yard.
Adjacent property.
Yeah, it's not ours, but we like it.
It's okay.
It's
lovely.
Yeah.
Any further comments?
No,
Any
unless-
questions for the applicant? Mary Beth, anyone?
No?
No, good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard on 81 Somerset?
I'll recycle if you don't want to, you might want to take it.
I'll take it.
Keep one for the record though. Yeah, they can.
No one else to be heard on 81 Talbot for 81 Somerset? We'll close the public hearing and bring it to the planning commission.
I visited the site on Tuesday. We walked around a bit with the gentleman who was on site, I believe it's a contractor. He had cleverly laid out for those of us who are visually impaired around such things where the pool sat. It seemed pretty darn logical and seemed within the both confines of the architecture as well as in the zoning, so I would have no problem approving it.
Mary Beth?
Oh, I visited the site, however, I didn't get through the gate. But I think it's fairly straightforward that it's the applicant's right to request a special permit.
I visited the site on Tuesday and talked with the contractor Per and understand why the location's where it is and agree with the application. Eric?
Ditto, was at the site, and I'm sure the neighbors were wondering who that guy was climbing on the fence to look over the top. And it was pretty straightforward, I thought.
Okay. All right.
I move that the planning commission approve the special structured permit, structure.
Found a typo? Yes, typo, thank you.
Structure permit, you know me, picky. Structure permit at 81 Somerset Lane based on the findings and for the current reasons enumerated in the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Being none, it's carried. Application is approved. If anyone in the audience would like to appeal the decision this evening, you have 10 days to appeal to the council in writing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is the variance at 23 Fair Oaks Avenue. Variance to allow a first floor addition of the main residence within the required side yard setback. Andrea.
Thank you. The next item before you is a request for a variance to allow an addition at 23 Fair Oaks Lane. This is a corner lot located within the R1B zoning district. The applicant is proposing to remodel the existing single-story residence and create an addition of 300 square feet. The proposed addition would not meet side yard setback requirements for the main residence, and therefore the applicant is requesting the variance. There are several heritage trees on site. One of the redwoods would need to be removed as part of the proposal, and would be approved for removal at staff level. The town arborist, Kevin Keelty, has already visited the site and made the determination for that tree if this is approved by you. The proposed addition would be approximately 13.5 feet from the side property line. However, the required side yard setbacks for this lot are 28 feet. So the addition would encroach about 15 feet into the required side yard setback. The owners are not proposing to add a second story. According to the Atherton Municipal Code, existing non-conforming homes in the R1B district can obtain a special structures permit for additions outside of the main building area. However, the residence at this property is conforming, and so there's no option available to them to obtain a special structures permit, only a variance. And as you're aware, the findings for a variance are a lot more difficult to meet than for a special structures permit. The applicant has several reasons for the request. The first is that the unique architecture of the residence oriented askew to the setback lines, and there's really little opportunity to add on anywhere on the first floor, just based on the way it's within the building area. The applicant also notes that the addition would be located at the rear of the yard within the side setback, and would be more beneficial in terms of privacy than a second story would be. Staff is not supportive of the proposal. Although the applicant is minimizing the impacts of the residents by maintaining a single-story building, the applicant could add additional square footage by either adding a second story or converting the garage to living space. As you know, there's no parking requirements within the town. Another option would be to create a second dwelling unit, which can encroach into the side setback by 20%. However, that would limit the encroachment to 5.3 feet, and as I mentioned, they're looking for about a 15-foot encroachment. In order to make the findings for the variance, the applicant needs to demonstrate a unique situation with the parcel. Staff believes there are numerous corner lots within town, all have the same restrictions, and based on the reasons outlined in the staff report, as I mentioned, we're not supportive of the request. We do not believe it meets the findings required. A lot of properties have to limit their design options based on the configuration of the lot, and there's nothing specific about the size, shape, or topography that make it a unique lot. If the commission wishes to approve the variance,